Ever wondered how a tax reform can make headlines, break an election promise, and spark a Senate showdown, all before winter even hits Canberra? Buckle up, because Australia's housing tax saga has more twists than a Sydney Harbour Bridge queue. Welcome back to Australian Dish, where we turn policy chaos into something you can actually understand, and maybe even enjoy. Let's set the scene. Back in 2025, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese ruled out touching negative gearing and the capital gains tax discount. Not once, not twice. He said it, according to reports, for what some are calling the 50th time. Fast forward to June this year, and the House of Representatives passed exactly those changes. Negative gearing is now restricted to newly built properties from July, and the 50% capital gains tax discount is being wound back. Think of it like promising your friends you'll never reorganize the office seating chart, then showing up on day one with a whole new floor plan. Awkward, but here we are. So why the flip? The government says this is about fairness. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has framed it as levelling the playing field for first-home buyers, especially those relying on smaller deposits. Economists like Matt Grudnoff from the Australia Institute have called it one of the strongest measures in the budget, arguing these tax breaks have long tilted the market toward investors over everyday buyers trying to get their first set of keys. But not everyone is applauding. And this is where it gets interesting. Sky News host Rita Panahi has been one of the sharpest critics, describing the tax changes as, in her words, stupid, and warning the housing crisis will get worse, not better. Her core argument centers on households now sitting in negative equity, meaning their properties are worth less than what they owe. That, she says, is economically damaging for the families caught in it. It is a strong opinion, and one shared by some property investors and commentators who worry that reducing tax incentives could cool the market too fast, leaving recent buyers exposed. On the flip side, the Greens argue the changes do not go far enough. Senator Larissa Waters has criticised the reforms as tinkering around the edges, saying billions in investor tax breaks are still allowing wealthier buyers to outbid renters at auctions every weekend. So somehow, in the same policy, one side says it is too much, and the other says it is not enough. That is the political sweet spot nobody actually enjoys. Meanwhile, over on the coalition benches, Liberal leader Angus Taylor and Nationals leader Matt Canavan have raised their own concerns, questioning whether removing these tax settings could reduce housing supply rather than improve affordability, echoing warnings from some economists that investors might simply exit the rental market altogether. Here's the bigger picture. This is not just a tax story, it is a supply and demand story wrapped in political promises. Reduce incentives for investors, and you might free up homes for owner-occupiers. But you might also spook the very people who build rental supply in the first place. It is like adjusting the thermostat in a share house. Someone is always going to complain. The question is just how loudly. What happens next comes down to the Senate. With the changes needing to clear that chamber, expect more debate, more amendments, and probably a few more headlines featuring the word stupid, whether that is fair or not. So here is the real question for you. Is this Labour course-correcting the housing market, or writing a new chapter in the broken promises file? Drop your take in the comments, because this debate is far from over. If you want the sharpest, clearest breakdown of Australian politics without the shouting matches, hit subscribe to Australian Dish, tap that bell, and I will see you in the next one.